Hey guys, I wanted to show you guys what Danny and I have been doing. This is a bed, a VEGO bed that I've had for over a year now. And the hostas were already in there, the pink flowers were in there, and these onions were already in there. My grandkids planted seeds, and from putting the hay in here, you can see I've got an awful lot of ryegrass coming up. But some of the seeds that my grandkids planted are coming up. We won't know what it is because they planted a lot of stuff, and some's going to come up, some's not. It's going to be a multitude of flowers in this bed here. Now, Danny's red maple starting to come out. This bed, again, the hostas are looking good, the onions, and the pink flowers are from last year. They're still in here. My radishes, they're up. This was, I think it was Hoss Tool seed tape. So they're up. We'll see how that works. Then this bed, the onions are doing great. The radishes are bigger. Again, the Hoss Tool seed tape planted the same day. Those are bigger than the other bed. And I planted spinach, so we have spinach just coming up in here. Now, this bed we cleaned out a few days ago, and I have onions across the back, and then I have spinach here and nothing in it. This one has not been replanted yet. We added these two beds. I put onions at the back of both of them and nothing else. Today we added the 11-inch. All the others I just showed you are 17 inches tall. These are the 11-inch. Now, I wanted to have somewhere to put my ginger. I had a subscriber send me a bunch of ginger and turmeric. So all the ginger is in this bed. Then we have our lilies, cannas, I don't know. What is this cannas? Miss Lippy will let me know what this is. Coming around the bird bath. But then in this one, I planted all the turmeric around the back and 2 lavenders up front. And I'll probably put something drapey or something in the middle. But these two 11-inch beds were what I wanted for the ginger and the turmeric. Then here I have some mint and a rose. And here I have some type of daylily, I'm sure. And behind it, I think, is the English dogwood. These two pots that I have sitting here will go somewhere else. Now, Danny and I have plans to start on this side right here and come around all the way around to there with a picket fence and turn this into a courtyard eventually. It's just, it takes time to get these things done, and there'll be a little gate over here and a sidewalk going out. So I thought you guys might enjoy some of the plants that I have going on right now and what Danny and I have been doing today, putting the ginger and the turmeric in those two 11-inch VEGO beds.
Well, good morning everybody, or whatever part of the day it is that you're watching this video. It's Danny and Wanda back from Pecan Grove. It's about that time of the year for us to start getting our stuff, in the garden good. Now we got a freeze coming. I don't know when this video is coming out, but there'll be a freeze this coming Friday morning here, which will be today's the 19th, be the 21st. We should have a freeze here. Actually, first day of spring, 21st, March 21st. So that's pretty typical, wouldn't it? What I've learned is when it comes to planting certain things, I've learned that it works out better if I can start them off ahead of time. Now, things like squash and cucumbers and stuff like that, it's better just to direct seed them in the ground. I've learned that. Just put them in the ground, leave them alone. But I have learned with okra, if I can take my okra and I can start it in the little peat cup pots like this Hoss Tool here, if I can start it in this, then I know exactly how many okra plants I have, and I can pick out the healthiest ones that's in here, and I can plant those, and I can equally space them out in the garden. And when I do, it literally helps me to be able to have a better okra crop than I do if I just go along and drop the seeds in the ground. Because when you drop the seeds in the ground, some of them come up, some of them don't. The ground gets dry, it gets wet, it gets dry, it gets wet. And okra seeds is one of them kind of things that they got a real hard shell around them, and once they get damp, they need to stay damp. And the type of soil we have here in the Deep South, lots of times is not conducive for that, unless you've got clay soil. Now, if you got a lot of clay in your soil, it'll stay damp for long enough probably to make it happen. But I'm using the Hoss Tool trays here. Now, this is the, I remember, I want to say 90, no, this is a 162 cell tray.
More than enough.
More than enough okra plants. So, and one thing about the Hoss Tool seed trays, what I like about them, you can throw that sucker in the ground, you can jump up and down on it. I mean, it lasts forever. You know, I mean, you could probably take a four-wheelers and Rangers and you probably take a pickup truck and drive over and it probably won't even hurt it. But now one thing I like about these, and I don't know if the camera can pick them up, but there's these little grooves going down in them. Can you get that one to show those little grooves right in there? They're on all four sides, and what that does is that keeps the roots on the plant from winding around in circles. It forces them to grow straight down. Now these are kind of pyramid shaped. They're very wide at the top, and they go down to a little point at the bottom, and makes the seeds, you look at the bottom of it here, see the little tiny holes all in the bottom of it? What this does is when these get ready, you can take a pencil eraser, or I use a little small stick, and you can push that thing from the bottom through that hole, and it pops up out of here. If you'll let it go one day without watering it before you go to take them out, when you push them up, they slide right up out of it. And 99% of the time, the roots is growed out through the bottom in that little hole right there, and they're all in this tray right here. Now this sits in a tray that stays full of water like that. And those roots will grow down and get into that water that you put underneath here. Now I add a little fish emulsion after a few days on mine. Stinks like all get out, but let me tell you something. That stuff really works. And those roots just go to it, and your plants is usually pretty vibrant. Now I don't use any kind of fertilizers or anything like that on this when I put them in here. Now I do use the Schultz potting soil here.
That says back toe.
I'm sorry. I use the back toe potting soil here. Now this particular one I'm using here includes, and it's a minute amount, but it includes starter and slow release fertilizers. And to prove to you right here on the back, right here, it shows you that there's only like 0.85% of nitrogen, total nitrogen. Now that's from 3 different sources or 4 different sources. That's not even 1%. And then, you know, your potassium is
phosphorus and potash.
Phosphorus and potash, but both of it is potassium. One of them's like 0.10%, one of them's like 0.05. So it's very, very minute, which makes this really good for getting little seedlings up and off of the ground and get going and not burn the little roots and stuff like that. Thus is why I come back with some fish emulsion and I add it into the water system that's underneath this tray. Now what I usually do here to do this is I just, now I don't advise this type of potting mix for all seed starts, because some seed starts you need a medium that doesn't have any types of big pieces of bark in it and stuff like this, especially your little things like onion seeds and your little tiny little seeds that can't push through something. You could use this as a base medium, but you would want to come back with something like perlite or something like that on top of it. Try not to dump too much in here at one time. Now I'm leaving it in the tray, and I'll show you why I'm leaving it in the tray here in a minute. Because this is the watering tray. And a lot of it's falling through into the tray. Don't panic if you get too much. It ain't no big deal. And see, there's one. See that? That's a hard clump that's in there. Now, it can be busted up. It's just a piece of clay. And I usually try to rake it off pretty smooth. I'll, if I lack a little bit, I'll just put me a little bit up here and kind of work it around. Get it in there like that. And then I come back and take my fingers and I just tap it down like that. You see how it's going down? Making them indentions in it. You need compaction. You don't want starting seeds. You don't want fluffy soil.
Except on top.
Except for on top, yeah. You want to go ahead and compact that bottom, because when you compact it, what will happen is when you put water in here, it will it'll absorb the water faster and help you get off to a little bit better start. And see, there's a big old flake right there. It's okay for okra, but for little small seeds, you really wouldn't want that. But this is what I do. Nothing serious about it here. I mean, just nothing hard, you know, not hard. And you may find you have, I've got a little bit of dirt over here. I'll stick a little bit of extra in there. Okay. Now, once we've done that, I usually will set this off and you'll see what I'm talking about. See all this soil that came out right here? I usually will just dump it in one of my other containers right here. Then I take this, you can set it right back over here on it like that. Now, what we're going to do, take our white okra. Now this is my 2023 white okra seeds that I've saved. One that I have found, now we like the Star of David for if you're going to can okra to fry. It is absolutely the best for canning and frying because it's so large and it just makes a really good frying okra for after you've canned it. Now a lot of people say, oh, I didn't know you could can okra and then fry it. Miss Wanda has videos on that, so you can go watch them and figure out how it's done. But what I'm going to do is the white okra, I'm just going to put a seed, about one in each one of them, down through here. I'm not going to let you sit here and, you know, for the whole thing, but we are going to make sure we got one good seed. Now sometimes in okra you'll get a bad seed, like see that you got 3 dark gray ones there and you got just one here that's kind of light colored. That okra is probably no good, so we won't get rid of it. So pay attention to your seeds when you're putting them in there. It's a long process when you got 162 of them to go, and you're trying to make sure you don't miss none of them. Now that one dropped 2 in it. I don't need 2 in that one. Let's go over it.
That's like most of them have a seed.
I think we got a seed in all of them.
Some of them might have 2.
Well, oh, whoop, there's one that don't. I see one that don't. Right there.
All right.
That don't look like a good seed. Let's put another. All right, that looks better. Okay.
All 3 of them will come up. 2 of them, whatever you
2 of them, I had 2 of them in it. Okay. I think we're... Oh, there's one I see don't look like a good seed over there. When they brown looking, I just don't feel like... And you can see the difference in it there. Yep. The gray seed and the brown seed. When I see a brown one, I just don't feel like it's a good seed. Looks like there might be one down here. Because this is okra, okra will push through pretty easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle this over the top of it and just lightly. Like I said, now if this was a real small seed, you'd want to definitely use a seed starting mix. Now you can make a seed starting mix out of this. I have videos showing how to do that with a screen. Works out really, really well. You end up with some really good medium. I think I was using
Schultz.
Oh, I was using Schultz or Miracle Grow when I showed how to do it.
One of the two, but I mean, any of them will work.
Any of them will work. Because basically what you're looking for when you're doing a seed starting mix is you just want a really soft easy medium that's not hard to push up, with no big flakes in it or anything like that. And you're just basically taking that out of this. Now, a lot of people's going to ask about this, and we're going to show this here in a minute. People want to know what's in this. Because, you know, you get all those people who badger all different kinds of planting mediums. Talking about harmful stuff in them. And I'll show you why I use this particular type. Now, you don't have to, but I'm just showing you why I do. Get a little bit more here. I think we're almost there, Ms. Wanda. Now I just pat it. Because okra will push through. And I'll tell you what, me and Ms. Wanda has grown okra in these before. And we've actually left them in the tray for, I don't know, a month, maybe or more.
Some of them in the high tunnel over yonder actually put okra pods on.
They actually grew okra.
It was like 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months. They actually growed okra on it. Now, I'm going to take this back out.
They weren't very healthy, but...
No, they weren't. They were poor looking plants, but now, but they did grow it. You know, they did.
They got to be about 8 to 10 inches tall and put on a pot of okra, but there was no care taken to that 1 or 2 that got left.
They were extra ones we had left over. But let's talk about this right here. I told you we'd talk about it. Okay, here we go. Product. Come on down.
Right there.
Up, right here. That's what I'm looking for, that right there. Product number 1250. Ingredients. Red sage peat. Reed, I'm sorry. My eyes are so bad. Reed sage peat, sand, and perlite. 84% of it is the peat moss that's in it. There's only 3 ingredients in this. That's why I like it. It doesn't have any harmful chemicals or anything like that in it. It's just, now there is, let me see if I can find it again. I wanted to show y'all something. Let's see here. There we go. Right here. It has the ingredients right here, and it's derived from polymer-coated ammonium phosphate, diammonium phosphate, potassium nitrate, ammonium nitrate, urea, potassium sulfate, and potassium chloride. Which,
and it says Florida, so it's coming.
It's in Florida. It's not the best form of nutrition to put in a soil, but like I showed you, it's like 0.85% on the nitrogen, 0.5 on the phosphate, and 0.10 on the potash. It's not even 1%. It's way, way less than 1% of anything, and I think that's about as close as I have found as far as just being a good potting medium without any harsh fertilizer or chemicals in it. Okra seeds are so hard, I water it really, whoa, you hit it too, I just hit it too hard there. I like to water it really good. And you don't have to water, but you don't have to worry about overwatering, okay? At the first, you don't have to worry about overwatering. You just don't want to blow your mix out of the cell. I just like to make sure my medium is nice and wet, because okra seeds have a hard coating, and they really, really, really need to keep a good medium on them. So I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to run some water in the tray, because for the first day, the medium is going to soak up a good bit of water. After that, you don't have to water it quite so much. I like to put about 1/4 inch of water in the tray. Now I have the tray sitting up on one of my mineral tubs here. The mineral tubs are all sitting level. So I've got about 1/4 inch of water here, 1/4 inch of water on this end. I'm going to stop at that because I've done wet the top of it. I feel like that's plenty in that. And I want to show you something else while we're sitting here in this particular video. People ask me about the sweet potato draws. I planted these, been about 2 weeks, and this is in the high tunnel now. And the high tunnel gets up to about 80 to 90, sometimes 100 degrees in here during the day. And you can look right here. You see the little sweet potato draws starting to pop up already right there and there. One right here. You know, so it's won't be long. We'll have all these little sweet potato draws flushing up in this thing right here, which means this year I might get a little bit of an early start on my sweet potatoes. If we can get rid of some of this cold weather, I get these things up here about this tall. I'll head up here onto that other garden and we'll make up some rows with a cub. We'll show y'all a video on planting sweet potatoes the old-fashioned way. Thank you guys from Pecan Grove.